and let us all do we can to build a better future.
All right, I did want to bring up the fact that there has been apparently a dangerous year in journalism. And the RTDNA, which is an advocacy group, did a survey of broadcast newsrooms from across the country, and what we're looking at here is some pretty serious stuff here. 1 in 5 television news directors reported attacks on employees. Now, keep in mind, this is television news. We're not even going to get into independent journalists, people who work on their own or for small outfits like us, or the smaller outfits that you have around the country. 86% of news directors changed newsroom procedures to protect employees. They purchased bulletproof vests and gas masks, and more often sent security teams with reporters. Incidentally, more than half of attacks occurred during coverage of civil unrest, protests, marches, rallies, or riots. And about 15% of attacks were seemingly random while teams were in the field. We're talking about, lock gates and fences, gas masks and goggles. It is, and this is for TV newsrooms. I mean, these are people who are considered to be established, and this is what they're reporting.
And these are people that, as we know, only go to areas that they feel safe in already, and they don't go out all that much to begin with.
Yeah. So, and I happen to know that there have been independent journalists who have been out and have been injured. I know of at least one. She lost an eye.
Oh my goodness.
To a rubber bullet, but people have been under attack in some cases by law enforcement, but not entirely just by law enforcement, by protesters. Both left wing and right wing are those pretending to be, because we know in some of these situations it's chaos, and you don't know who's representing who. But this is an ongoing issue. Now, I happen to be of the belief that people should not be hitting each other or assaulting each other anyways, just as a general manner of going about your life. I learned that back in kindergarten. Actually, I learned that earlier than kindergarten. Don't hit people, don't bite, not nice. But this is truly distressing, because if we're going to maintain this very tattered institution of a free press, of journalism in this country, which is absolutely necessary for the distribution of information, as well as accountability and transparency in both the public and the private realms. Those who are doing the investigation, those who are doing the reporting, those who are providing this information in particular, should not be subject to physical assault. But this was very distressing news.
And I think also it's important to mention that the people that we're talking about are not the multi-million-dollar a month people. There's a lot of camera people who we already know from working in the field they're also getting issues with not even getting paid. They've already lost. They used to have 2 people plus a reporter. Now they're lucky if they have just themselves and enough equipment to run all this stuff. I mean, you're hitting the people that it's not good. But again, as you already pointed out, Lainey, a lot of this is also the police have been a lot more active in this shooting. And I want to quote a comment from a little earlier from More Deer Entertainment saying, "Funny, when I worked in TV in the 90s, that never happened. Wonder what changed."
So again, I really hate it when I see journalists get hurt, especially those who are part of local TV crews, because, I mean, firsthand experience, when me and Daniel were out in the field, when we covered the Exoneration Project, I've talked about this on the show before, but, when we were leaving that event where, those individuals were pardoned for crimes, or were finally, exonerated for crimes they didn't commit, we weren't hearing the camera crews react to this. They were all talking about pay and money.
Yeah.
And from the reporters to the cameramen to the tech crews, and these people are just struggling day in, day out just to make ends meet. And it's a very tough job. And now what we're seeing firsthand, especially with all the protests, the police are shooting at the press, be it independent or local affiliate TV stations, and they should not be going through that. No one should be going.
Nobody should be going through that.
Yeah.
But we saw when the Capitol riot happened, there were protesters that were attacking journalists in their staging areas. These were not even journalists that were going in; they were in their staging area. And they were being attacked. Their equipment was being attacked. I have seen journalists on the ground doing stuff on YouTube and whatnot, where protesters don't want journalists there, and they will attack this is not good. This is not wholesome. It's not what this institution is supposed to be about in the United States. And as I said, this survey is coming from an old organization. It's the Radio Television Digital News Association. It's been around since 1946. These are folks that are dealing with mainstream, accepted journalism. Not, some people will try and say that this person is not a journalist. Julian Assange, and we'll try and poo-poo the independent media out there. But the reality is we have a free press for a reason, and that means people are free to participate in it.
I would just add that if there's anyone that I think that also should be mentioned, although it's not physical, it is everything else. YouTube is increasingly becoming a very dangerous place for people to be journalists, because in their eyes, you're either in the establishment and already good, or you're filming conspiracy theories from your mom's basement, and there's no in between.
Yeah. And the thing is, like, that, and that censorship is violence too. And look, I'm going to say it is violence because it takes away people's livelihoods and a chance to build up their network.
Here's what we could say. I got it. Ready?
All right, let's hear
By
it.
AOC standard, it's definitely violence.
Oh, absolutely. Well, and the thing is, it's far more real because, again, more people are tuning into independent media and tuning away from corporate media. But again, we have to look at other alternatives.